like I wasn't asleep, but it was dark in the room and I had my eyes open and I had a visit in my brain of younger me. So recently, as you can tell, my beard's getting out of control. I need a haircut. It's because my wife's been away for a week. I have had a bit of time to just sort of sit in my own thoughts, which I haven't had in a long time. Sort of ended up lying on my bed and I was listening to some music. Like I wasn't asleep, but it was dark in the room and I had my eyes open and I had a visit in my brain of younger me. And I was standing in the driveway of my house that I used to live in back in Gizzy, and this kid, who was me, I knew it was me, probably 5-6 years old. I was wearing my favourite pair of shorts back then, which were these little pace shorts. I had dirty knees and dirty feet, and I was fascinated by me. I grabbed my hand, and I was touching, and I was like, oh.
That's incredible.
It was the craziest thing, and it almost makes me want to cry now, because there was this overwhelming feeling that younger me was so impressed with what he saw and so just in awe of what had shown up in front of me. Now, I hadn't taken any drugs. I hadn't drunken anything. This was purely just a moment of me lying on my bed, having time away from social, having time away from TV, everything like that. And I sat in it. There was a part where he had a question for me. He said, what's happened? You're really different to who we were when we were younger. What's happened? You don't have that same self-belief. Remember when we used to sit on the motorbike and we were freezing cold because Dad wouldn't care whether you're cold or not. He was, he had to get somewhere and you were sitting on the front and you were freezing cold, and you used to be able to change that feeling of freezing cold because you had such a strong mind. You used to think about warm places and your whole body would be warm. Why can't you do that now? And what's happened to your running? Look at you. Remember when we used to run? When we ran and we were free and you loved running, you could run anywhere around the entire farm. Your body, what have you let happen to it? Why would you do this? It made me really emotional. And it also made me think about how much things changed when I had kids. I can absolutely remember the time where I went from being, a young 20-year-old and I had to change up and become an example now for the boys. And it made me think about all the things that I stopped during that moment. And look, sometimes I know it's an excuse. Oh, I can't go to the gym because I'm tired and I've got to go home and I've got to make a dinner for the kids and stuff like that. I know it's an excuse. I know I could still get up a little earlier and go to the gym, but I used becoming an adult and I used becoming a parent as an excuse to let some of the most wonderful parts and gifts that I was given as a young one, I let them go. That was the feeling I was left with. I was left with a feeling of motivation to get my body right, but I was also left with this kind of warm feeling that younger me would have been impressed with what he saw. Well, he was. I got to see it.
I feel like a lot of people listening, Matsumak, similar to your age and similar to the kind of journey of, you raise kids and teenagers and then they're starting to leave the house now and, suddenly the drop-offs and the pickups, they're not needed as much anymore. And your life gets a bit quieter and you kind of have to reflect on you a bit more, and it's such a beautiful reflection that I think is landing for people listening now, and it's such a important thing for you to reinforce for yourself and for others to hear too. You got to be careful when you decide you're an old dog, because you convince yourself you can't learn new tricks, and that motivation and that push of there's still a lot of life left to go,
100
and I'm sure you can probably elaborate on that point,
He took me back to the core memory of just running. And growing up on the farm, I'm telling you, cross country.
Forrest Gump out there.
Bro, never mind doing maths and English, bro. You let us loose on the cross country tracks. Come on, townies. Let's run. That was, I had so much confidence flowing through me. I could run for days. And he reminded me of that feeling. And yeah, I think part of me is just disappointed happy, but disappointed that I let so much go to that point, and that was his reaction. I think it would have been cool to be able to roll up and find younger me with a six-pack at the age of 44 and, done a whole lot of marathons, but that's a bit broken down at the moment, but it doesn't mean it can't. It has to stay there.
100%.
It's The Morning Shift.
Look at you just watching.
Catch the full show on all streaming platforms.
Link in bio.